Hello everybody and welcome to The Park. I am your host, Paul Rodriguez, and this is my personal audio log recorded content, episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back.
Cinco.
It's kind of embarrassing because I posted on my Instagram story, episode 4 was Return of the Jedi.
Bruh, really?
It's not Return of the Jedi.
It's not. It's New Hope.
It's A New Hope.
Right?
It was the very first Star Wars episode.
Oh, come on.
But yeah, anyways, episode 5 with it here. I got a special friend, an amazing friend, Diego Manaligod. Do you want to introduce yourself, bro?
Hello. My name is Diego, and this is not how I sound. I'm sick right now, but that's okay.
It's okay, I got halls for you.
Yeah, so Paul has been a really gracious host right now in the park. But yeah, like Paul said, my name is Diego Manaligod. Well, something about myself. Let's say I'm 22 years old, so that makes me pretty old. No longer a teenager,
So
although
old,
it feels like I'm still a teenager sometimes. I finished college. I have my diploma in publishing from Langara College here in Vancouver, and so that means I'm sort of into like graphic design and writing and web design and all those sort of things. And one day, I guess, I hope to work for like ad agencies to create really beautiful ads, whether it's like print or like web or like whatever format, really. So that's a little something about myself.
Yeah, man. I hope to see your ads pop up in Richmond. Hopefully, not in Chinese.
Not, oh my gosh, can you imagine? What's weird is here in Vancouver, there's a law about, there's a law on billboards.
Right.
Yeah, there's like a law on billboards, so like around the main center of Vancouver, you'll never see billboards. And I don't really see any billboards here in Richmond either.
Yeah, no,
right?
I don't think there is one in Richmond that I know of.
I learned there was a law, so most probably if I do make ads, it'll probably be on your phones or on YouTube, like those videos or those like little banners you see on Instagram, like those sort of ads. Ooh. Or like TV ads too, you know.
Yeah.
So that's generally the goal.
Would you consider like going into acting for those ads or what? Or would you like just produce those kind of TV ads?
Acting for the ads. I could, probably not. Well,
because you're into photography too, aren't you?
I am into photography. Thank you. Yeah, I am into photography, and so the whole mix of like graphic design and writing and web production and my personal interest in photography sort of like lends to like this, I guess, mix that really helps me create things. So like for example, I said that I really want to make ads, like really cool ads, and so I'm capable of like coming up with the photography behind it and the typography behind it and the execution, like in creating print ready files, like for like really huge posters and billboards, to even web stuff like banners you would see on different kind of websites. But acting, probably not. Producing ads would be the thing, because the goal is to be like an art director or like a creative director for an agency, right?
Yeah.
So be in charge of like the creative decisions the ad agency makes.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's something that I kind of want to look into as well, because I enjoy graphic design myself. I've never gotten. I always wanted to get into photography. Mm-hmm. I never really had the time, nor do I have the camera. So,
okay. Well, that's important.
It's about the person, not the camera, right?
True. It's about the photographer.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. It's about the photographer. But you know, it's like you can probably even use just your phone, to be honest. That's kind of how I started out, with Instagram and taking pictures with my phone, and then that interest kind of carried through me buying my own camera in Best Buy, and that carried on to like buy all these accessories like stands and different lenses and all those things. Photography is a very expensive hobby though, Paul.
Oh, definitely.
Very expensive.
Holy crap!
Crazy.
And I thought cubing was expense.
Do they know?
I don't think I've talked about it on the podcast yet,
Okay.
but yeah, I can solve a Rubik's cube. I can.
He can solve a different kinds of Rubik's cube. Because like right here, I see a 2x2, a 3x3, and a 4x4. Are those the only kinds of cubes you solve?
Well, like the main ones that I use.
Okay.
I have them in my drawer here.
Do you have like 5x5s? Whoa!
Yeah, I do have a 5x5 actually.
Dang! What?
Yeah, that
What do you call this?
That's a Mega Minx.
A Mega?
Mega Minx.
Mega Minx.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways.
Dang.
Yeah. As he introduced himself, he's a great friend. Or well, I think I introduced you as a great friend.
Yeah.
Let's get on to how we met, man.
Okay, sure.
How
you want to go first, or does it matter?
It doesn't matter.
Okay. So, well, Paul probably has a different interpretation of how we met, but here's my story, and it might take a while, but here's how I remember it. So, I'm sure Paul has mentioned before that he is a member of a youth group called CFC Youth for Christ. And that's pretty much how we met. We were both members of that youth group here in Richmond. But how we met was kind of different from how I met everyone else in that youth group, because I joined CFC Youth in 2013, and you joined in
2010.
2010, right? 2010.
3 years before.
3 years before. But when I joined the youth group, well, Paul was nowhere to be found.
Right.
He wasn't there. He was what we call inactive.
Yep.
So
community sucks.
Yeah, he was like this group sucks so much, and I'm gonna be here, whatever, right? So he from what I know, he went off and did stupid things.
I did my own things.
he did really stupid things. I'm sure he'll go explain that by himself. But so how I met him was, I think it must have been almost a year, if not less, into my participating in the youth group, where I heard of Paul Rodriguez. So there would be times where I would hang out with the people I already knew in the youth group within the church, and then I would hear them talk about this guy named Paul Rodriguez and how, oh man, it's too bad he's inactive, we should bring him back, we should invite him back, we should like really make him feel loved and all these things. And I'm like, who is this Paul Rodriguez? And there was this one Sunday at church where we had a pancake breakfast after our 7:30 a.m. mass. And then, right? I don't know if you remember this, but
I honestly don't. But keep talking.
Yeah. So there was a pancake breakfast in the church. So all the people who went to church went to go have breakfast in the building right next to the church. And so I hung out with my CFC youth friends. Okay, and then across the table, Paul was in a whole different table, and so they were talking about Paul, and that's kind of how I knew. That's kind of how I knew how Paul looked like. So that's sort of how I knew his name and how I knew how he looked like. But I did not really know Paul until, and this is really weird, but I did not know Paul until he became my leader. So, long story short, Paul was an inactive member in the youth group, and then one of the upper-ups, the leaders, pursued him again and like tried to bring him back and talk to him again, became friends with him, and that kind of brought him back into the community, CFC Youth, and he asked Paul to be a leader. And so, when he became a leader, he entrusted Paul a few boys or a few members from the youth group, and I happened to be one of those boys. And this was what, 2014?
2014. Yeah,
2014. Yeah, so this is like a whole year after I joined. So right out of the blue, this guy starts messaging me and talking to me like, "Hey, yo, let's hang out. Let's go have what we call households." So in our youth group, we have what we call households, what is pretty much kind of like a set group, wherein a leader is in charge of taking care of a smaller group of boys of like 4 to 5, or if you're a girl, it would be a group of 4 to 5 girls. And so that's how it started. I met Paul as my leader, but I knew of his reputation even before I met him.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah. There was
so
yeah.
This I didn't know.
Yeah.
I didn't know
Yeah.
because it seems like you guys were plotting my return.
Yeah,
for a while.
dude.
This really is episode 6, Return of the Jedi.
It is Return of the Jedi, yeah, straight up. Dude, it's like, I overheard all the plans and all the things, like, everyone's desire to kind of bring you back, right? And it was really cool because I saw it happen, right? I saw it happen, it was really cool. And so, that's how I met Paul, like I said. And then, now it's 2017, 3 years later. And I guess, me and Paul have had a crazy journey.
Yeah.
Not just within the community, though. Not just within the youth group, but, like, even outside that, like, within our own friends.
When was the first time I talked to you?
I don't know.
Was it in person or was it, like, over Facebook message? Because I honestly don't remember. I do remember, though, like, organizing that household hangout.
Oh, man. That was a classic.
That was classic.
That was classic.
Classic household.
Classic household. That was really cool. I actually don't know when or how you first talked to me. I feel like it must have been through Facebook.
Must have been.
Like you started messaging me, and I was just like, I was very enthusiastic, and I really loved being part of the youth group. So I think I was really easy to approach. I don't know. Was I really easy to approach?
I guess.
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No.
No.
What?
I mean, like, you are.
Yeah.
Because, like,
I
as a leader, I have to approach everyone easily.
Oh, I guess so.
Right.
Right.
And that was like the peak. No, I'm just kidding.
that was
the peak of my
Paul's
service.
leadership. Of service.
Bless you.
Thank you.
But yeah, like, oh man, I still remember that first hangout like it was yesterday.
That must have been late 2014.
Late 2014.
Or early 2015.
And the first thing we did was eat chicken.
We had fried chicken. I remember.
Fried chicken.
We had 2 kinds of chicken actually. I remember. We had Church's chicken, which was really good, and we had LA chicken. I don't know if do you remember? We had 2 kinds of fried chicken.
Yeah, 2 kinds of chicken.
It was really cool. It was me. It was my friend Neil. You should bring Neil to this show too.
I should.
Neil's a really cool guy.
I'll bring him on.
It was Kennedy. And it was Nelson. Is that it?
I think those are the only ones that showed up. The 2 that didn't show up was Trent and Ian.
Right.
Yeah, those guys didn't show up. But anyways,
but yeah.
You remember watching the movie, right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So like, just think about, like, me and Paul were part of this youth group, this Catholic, Christian, very wholesome youth group, right? And so the first thing he does to bring his group together, his household, right? The first thing he does is that, we have dinner, we eat, but then we watch a movie, right? We watch a movie called Neighbors. And it was like the complete opposite of wholesome that you could ever think of. Like, what was it about?
That's how fellowship starts.
I guess so. and to be honest, I think I wouldn't have had it any other way anyway. Like, it was really memorable, right? Like, I can't remember all the other hangouts I've had with all the other leaders I've been with, but that stood out to me, though. It stood out to me.
Exactly.
It was funny. It was cool. It was unique. There was lots of wangs in the,
lots,
in the movie. Man.
Lots of wangs. It was dank.
It was good. It was a good movie. It was a good movie in the end. I remember. Very memorable house.
Yeah. What would you say that your first impressions of me were? Like, not even just like as your leader, but like as a person in general.
Is this R like PG-13 or?
Yeah, no.
No,
It can be anything.
I'm gonna say whatever.
You say whatever.
Well, from what I heard, I already had a first impression of Paul before I even met him because I heard all of these things, all these stories from all the people in our group.
Yeah.
So, I heard like different kinds of stories of Paul. Now, I apologize to whoever's listening to this right now if you hold Paul to such high regard or high esteem. But the first impression the first thing I knew about Paul was when he was inactive, he was, well, sort of like a pothead. Is that fair to say?
No.
Yeah.
It's you can say it. You can
say
say
it?
whatever you want.
Yeah. So I heard Paul was sort of a pothead back then, and so as crazy as first impressions go, he was my leader. So I was like, I'm just gonna be really hopeful right now, right? And cause I remember it was me and my friends, we were in McDonald's, and then we were talking about Paul. This was before he was my leader. They were talking about Paul, and they do that, and they were telling stories about him. There was this one story I'll never forget. Even before, before 2013, a bunch of my friends back then ran into Paul in that same McDonald's we were hanging out in, and then I remember, I think they were just talking to Paul, like they were saying hi, hello, like how's it going? But Paul was high out of his mind. Do you remember? Do you know this?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember this.
Don't take the whole cookie.
Yeah.
Don't take a cookie.
Oh my gosh, dude. That was funny. And so, my first impression was like, okay, hopefully X pothead was this person who's leading me, right? And I think he is. No, he is. Paul no longer is that sort of guy. But that was my first impression. But obviously, it changed right away. Right away, Paul, like, I don't know, you were very, I felt like you were very dedicated and committed to building relationships. Yeah, because it's hard. I don't know about you guys who are listening, but being a leader and being entrusted with a group of people for you to take care of and watch out for and just keep an eye out for, that's very challenging and that's very taxing, like emotionally and all those things. And right away I knew when I met Paul, like actually got to know him, I felt like there was a lot of dedication and commitment coming from his side. So that was really cool.
Yeah, man. Hold on. My first impressions of you.
Oh my gosh. This I have no idea. I've never asked in all the years of my friendship with Paul. I've never asked him this. Actually, right? I don't think so.
Well, I mean that's the thing, because like I suck at remembering what first impressions I have.
Oh, okay.
So like if I really think hard about it, I think my first impression of you was that you were obviously musically talented, right?
Right.
And I would say you were a bit of a playboy.
A playboy. Okay, first of all, before Paul continues, I've never had a girlfriend until like 2016. Okay, so I don't know where he's coming.
I don't know.
I don't
know, but like that was my impression of you. I don't think
I musically inclined playboy.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
You're quite the flirtatious type. I think every time we would go out to restaurants, we would tell you to stop flirting with the waitress.
Okay, first of all, I'm just very nice, I think. Okay. I'm not flirty. I like to think I'm not.
Ladies.
I'm not flirty. Right? For those who know me that are listening to this, you know I'm not flirty. I don't know how to flirt. Like legit, I don't know how to flirt.
So it's like effortless for you, I guess.
No, not even, dude. I think if I were to try, it would be worse. But yeah, musically inclined. Yeah.
Musically inclined. Let's say nice.
Yeah.
You don't have to use the word playboy then.
Yeah, just musically inclined, nice person. I think is what I would approve. Is what I would agree. Although I have been told that before.
Yeah.
That I'm a very flirty person, which I still, to this date, I will disagree. I will never agree to that.
I guess.
No.
I guess.
Debatable.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah. I guess like going on into our current friendship, we're we hang out quite a while. Quite a bit.
Quite a bit. Yeah, we hang out quite a bit.
But we're all like kind of busy, so it hasn't been a lot.
Yeah.
So.
Paul, I don't. Well, you shared. You shared. You have a full-time job now, right?
Right. Yeah.
And you're back to school.
So that's taking a lot of time.
Excuse me.
But yeah, our current friendship. Yeah, it's quite the.
It's been 3 years. It's been 3 years, and there's been tons of changes for sure, for sure. So, well, do you want to go? Do you want to?
I can touch on the parts that that I remember fondly.
Okay.
But having you as a friend, it's actually pretty nice because I know that we do have like some differences and like we all have different interests, but I think I can always relate to you the most as in
among all our friends.
Yeah.
Really?
Okay.
I'm gonna take pride in that now from now on for everyone listening. Paul,
off the record.
Paul relates to me the most. Everyone. Okay.
I relate to you the most. I relate to Carlo.
Oh yeah.
Carlo's there.
Carlo was a good guest.
I think if you and Carlo had a baby, it would have been me.
Ah, okay, I see that.
Yeah.
I see that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be as tall as you are now, though.
Yeah, but
No.
like for some reason, like the musical talent just is
It's not there.
It's not in the gene pool.
Although no, you try though. You try.
I try.
You try. Paul has tried to learn the guitar, and he plays.
I can play Wonderwall.
He plays Wonderwall really well. The acapella part, he does it really well on the guitar.
Yeah, exactly.
Really good. You guys will hear it one day. Really good.
One day, maybe I'll play it as the outro.
Oh, dude!
No,
Perfect. Yeah, like I don't know how many episodes you have planned for this, but in the last episode, it's like have your like.
Oh no! Like I changed that. I've just been using the same one from Carlos and just having that as a theme song.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, man, I remember there was this. I think there's this one point in our friendship. I think about 2 years ago.
2015. Okay.
Yeah. We would go to like. Oh no! Remember when I used to go to Langara?
Okay. So Langara is a college I went to, and Paul went to Langara too.
I went to Langara, but I was enrolled.
Yes. So here's the crazy thing. So when I graduated from high school and I went to college, all of my friends or most of my friends from the youth group went to Langara, and we hung out a lot when we had like free time from school, right? And so sometimes I would see Paul hanging out with us, and I thought it was really cool, like hanging out with Paul during school and all these things. And it wasn't until like maybe a few weeks after that I learned that Paul did not even go to Langara. He wasn't even enrolled. It was so weird, and I realized even worse was that he would hang out with us in Langara when he would have his own classes in Kwantlen, a whole different school, like in a different city, I think.
It's so bad.
Terrible. It was terrible. But yeah,
terrible. This
it's
is the one that This is what I was talking about in the last episode. You probably haven't heard it, but I was talking about how I would like just drop everything just to like always hang out with my friends. And so school was that I would, cause I'd have school all the way out in Surrey, and I just didn't feel like going. I just felt like hanging out with my friends who actually went to school, and you know, it was a weird time in my life.
It was weird. 2 years, 2015 was a weird year. I think for everyone, like everyone was adjusting with college, like getting used to their programs, their schedules, and Paul hanging out in the library when he had class at the same time. It was really weird. It was a very weird year, that's true.
And then I eventually actually just straight up dropped out of
my
school.
When did you drop out, actually?
2015.
2015. Within that year?
Within that year.
Okay.
And just to take it was Spanish and English.
Oh my gosh.
I don't even know what to do with those. ¿Cómo estás?
Did you ever go to Langara though?
Yeah.
You were enrolled in Langara.
Yeah, I took Spanish and English for a semester.
Even then, I did not believe Paul. Even until now, I did not realize Paul actually ended up going to Langara still. You went to Langara?
Yeah.
Still? For like one semester?
One semester.
One semester.
One semester.
I mean,
I guess I still have a student card there, but
I guess so. Right.
I look hella orange.
Me too.
Everyone looks up. I think it's because the school's orange.
Yep.
So they tint everybody's face.
It's like a little overlay of orange over everyone.
Yeah. Another thing that I remember of our friendship was that we actually liked the same girl at the same time.
Yes. Yes.
But
does she know this?
Huh?
Okay, whatever.
Oh, she doesn't. Let's give her an alias.
Let's say, what's a good code name? Doritos.
There's a bowl of Doritos in here.
Yes. Okay. Her name is Doritos, and is it the right? Did we like her at the same time, or it like overlapped for a bit?
I think
it overlapped.
It overlapped for a bit because like I had strong feelings for this girl, and I would open up to you about it, but
not knowing
that this dude is a friggin' snake.
I wasn't flirting with her or anything.
Yeah, you weren't trying.
I wasn't trying.
But
yeah.
Yeah. I remember just like waiting at the bus stop for the bus, and like I finally told you like, oh, I'm finally over this girl. And then
I told you, right? Then I told you, right? Oh, right. I remember this. It was in Langara. It was in Langara. We were waiting for the bus, right?
Yeah.
And then Paul's like, yo, dude, I'm finally over Doritos, right? Like, I have no more feelings for whatever. And I was like, okay, bro, I need to tell you something. I kind of like her too. For like the past few weeks or even a month now.
No way, you like Doritos?
Yeah.
What flavor?
Dude, man.
Because I have sweet chili heat right here.
Well, it was very chilly. Very chilly flavor.
It's cold.
Cold!
Straight cool ranch.
Cool, it's really cool ranch. Oh my gosh. Terrible. Cool terrible. But yeah. Shoot. Yeah.
Anyways, I was over it, so I was insulted.
You were okay with it though.
I was okay with it.
Yeah, okay.
Considering the fact that I was over, but like if you still told me while I was still liking her,
that would have been weird.
Yeah, that would have been weird.
Right? So I was very considerate. Yeah. I was very considerate. You know?
I guess.
Because me and Paul are really good friends, right? And you don't just say that to somebody like you're like your best friend. You don't say like, hey dude, I'm crushing on the same girl you are. Like you don't say that. I knew that obviously, so I had to wait it out. And somehow I knew. Somehow I had a feeling you would get over it. Yeah. Somehow.
True.
Right?
True.
Right? Because
I never really talked to her anyway. So.
Yeah, so yeah, and that's the weird thing too. So I feel bad talking about Doritos. But who cares? So,
Doritos sponsor us.
So I told you it must have been 2015. I remember it was 2015. I told Paul that I like Doritos. And then it wasn't until maybe late spring or early summer or midsummer even of 2015 that I realized it was the same with Paul. I didn't like her anymore. And it was because for the same reasons too.
Yeah.
It was because of the same reason.
You see?
It was because we didn't really know her. Right?
Yeah.
Because like what is Cool Ranch made of anyway? You know?
Yeah.
What is Cool Ranch?
What is Cool Ranch? What is sweet chili?
What is
nacho cheese?
What is that flavor really? Like you don't know. I did not know who Doritos really was. And
It's one of those mystery flavored Doritos.
Yeah, it is. And funny enough, now looking back at it, I was like, no regrets, because like now I'm kind of seeing what Cool Ranch is really like, and I think it was the right choice.
Yeah,
I think it was the right choice for me and Paul.
I think it was the right choice.
Yeah, I think it was the right choice. Oh man.
But yeah, man.
Yikes! Yikers! Oh my gosh.
We reached. We got half an hour down. Let's take a break.
Sure.
Let's take a break. We'll be right back. And we're back.
And we back, and we back, and we back. Paul is a big fan of Chance the Rapper.
I am Chance
Do they
the
know
Rapper.
That? Oh, Paul is Chance the Rapper. Oh, you should show them the picture, dude.
No.
Show them the picture.
Okay, I'll put it up on the screen.
Yeah. Put it up right now, right here. 3, 2, 1. Paul the Rapper. Nice. Paul is a big fan of Chance.
Anyways,
oh, man.
Yeah. So we mentioned earlier that we're part of the CSC youth community.
Yep.
And I think what I do want to go over is how our service in this community is right now.
Sure.
So like, what do you do, bro?
So we talked about 2014, 2015. So now 2 years later, Paul. So like I said earlier, I shared earlier, Paul was my leader. So he was what we call my household head. And so that made him in charge of me and a few other guys to like just watch over and take care of. And so, what year was it? It must have been 2016, I think.
Yeah, just last year.
Yeah, it was last year when I became Paul's household head. So we kind of switched roles, wherein I was now in charge of a group of boys or a group of men, in which Paul was a part of, among other brothers or other guys, right? And so that's how it's been until recently, actually. So Paul and I have served together for probably 2 years now, collectively. But Paul has been in my household for more than a year, and now around this time of the year in September is when things usually shift around in our community. And so I am now I now have a different role, actually. I now have a different role, and Paul has a different role as well. And so now I'm in charge of a different set of guys as well, but it's a different group of boys or a different group of guys from different places.
So give us the tiers of roles.
Okay, so we're here in Vancouver, right? So we're all part of this community that's found in Vancouver, in Burnaby, in Richmond, North Vancouver, Surrey, Delta, Coquitlam, Port Coquitlam, Maple Ridge, all of these places. And so collectively, all those places form a region. We call them a region. And the head of that region is what we call the area head. The area head. So that's a guy and a girl who are household heads, who lead a group of girls and boys. And so I'm part of that group. And my role is called the community head.
Is that a new thing?
It is.
That's a new thing, right?
It is a new thing.
So right now you're the first of its kind.
Yes. Here in our region called Pacific. So it's called the Pacific region, and only this year did they start to implement this new service role called the community-based area head. So I'm under the area head, who was in charge of the different what we call programs within the region. We have music ministry, we have community-based, which is mine. We have high school, and we have campus, and we have so many other things. And so I'm on that tier, as I guess Paul said. I'm in that tier where I'm under the area head. And so another program under the area head is what we call YCOM. So YCOM have heads as well. So they're leaders. There's a guy and a girl who lead YCOM. YCOM stands for Youth Communications. And they're in charge of the creative missionary sort of projects that the region has. So from videos to posters to banners to whatever form of media. And so under YCOM is where Paul is. So we have the area head, then we have all the programs, YCOM, and then me, area head. But under that, under YCOM specifically, we have Paul. And now Paul is now currently serving as the area or as the region's graphics head.
Yeah.
Which is kind of arguably probably
one of the most important roles.
It's very important because in this day and age in our youth community or just in our community in general, media is very important, is very relevant.
Yeah.
Like social media, videos, like on YouTube and that sort of stuff. It's just like it's the current way of communicating, and it's very important for us to keep in touch or to keep up to date with how we communicate. And so Paul is in charge of graphics. That makes him in charge of all the banners, all the posters, all the logos,
for, like the events, the various events that we
Yeah.
have. We have a lot of those.
There are different kinds of events in our community, and so Paul is kind of in charge of creating these graphic materials like PowerPoint templates, banners, logos, prints for T-shirts, like so many things. Pretty much all graphics, print or web.
Yeah, anything that can be a graphic, I gotta do it. I gotta do it.
That's Paul.
And I'm gonna enjoy it.
Yeah. So that's Paul. For me, I am the community-based head. So for those who kind of know how CF's Youth works, I am sort of like the household head of the cluster heads. So I mentioned earlier how there are different cities within our community. We have Vancouver, we have Richmond, Surrey, Delta, Burnaby, Surrey, again, and the Tri-Cities. And so those cities have their own sort of leaders who are in charge of the other leaders under them and under them and all the leaders under them. So it kind of flows down like a pyramid, but we're not a pyramid scheme though. But
multi-level marketing.
Multi-level is what we are called. It's not a pyramid scheme.
We sell you books and lifting supplies.
Lifting supplies. But yeah, no. So there are leaders within the different parishes, and then there are leaders who are in charge of the cities wherein those parishes are found, and then there are leaders who are in charge of different cities, and then there's the leader, which is me, who was in charge of the leaders who are in charge of those leaders. It sounds complicated, but basically, it all kind of trickles down.
Yeah.
It all trickles down. So yeah, that's my role. And I just started really this month. I used to be...
How is it so far?
It's good. It's good. It's really good. It's more of a pastoral role than anything. So, like, you know how we said earlier, Paul and I said earlier, there are tons of events in our community wherein we kind of like have praise and worship, or we kind of have talks and teachings and all these things. For me, I don't really create any events. I'm just really in charge of like creating relationships with the people I'm in charge of, and just really strengthening those relationships and really affirm them and really just be like the backbone and be the support that they need.
I think you're great at that.
I hope so.
You're amazing at that.
Thank you. I like to think so.
From your leader as, from your role as my leader, and like having a household, I really affirm you for like actually like giving us like a great time, and like
thanks, man.
You know, you really got us all together, even though we hate you sometimes.
Yeah, it's because of my jokes. It really is just because of my jokes.
Yeah, just your jokes.
Yeah, it's just my jokes, right? I have great jokes. I haven't said any the whole time.
Give us one.
Like, what did the janitor say when you opened the janitor closet all of a sudden? Supplies!
You mean like when he opens the supplies closet?
The janitor closet.
No. Okay.
See?
That's a wrap. We're
done. That's it.
It's a good thing you didn't say it earlier.
Jokes aside, I know I have terrible jokes. I have really bad dad jokes, and I love dad jokes though. But yeah, no. I am in charge of like just building relationships. Like like what I did with Paul, and I still do that though, even though I'm not Paul's leader anymore. Like me and Paul are still like good buds. Like we hang out still with all our other friends, and so that relationship building responsibility doesn't really stop when you stop serving. It's just a thing that you do all the time, because like otherwise you wouldn't have any friends. You know?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's important. You need to have friends. Paul's a good friend, everyone. Whoever's listening to this, Paul's a good friend. Low-key wish.
Oh man.
This would have been cool.
Aw, shucks.
This would have been cool if it wasn't like water for drinking.
I mean, we
Right?
could maybe a couple years from now.
A couple of years from now.
Or maybe a year from now.
A
We'll
year?
we'll have season 2 of the party.
Yeah, season 2 of the park. Season 2 of the park.
But yeah.
Oh man. That's so cool. It's classic. So yeah, so Paul used to be my leader, and then I became his leader, and then now he is his own leader, and now we're just really like we're like the best of friends.
Yeah.
Just hanging out.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, so that's what 3 years worth of our relationship,
Yeah.
and that's how far we've journeyed. So
Yeah.
it was really cool. From liking the same girl to not liking the same girl to going to the same school for a bit, and then, well, for me now, well, Paul has a full-time job. He has a girlfriend. He's back to school. Have you shared that you're back to school?
Yeah.
So Paul's back to school for drafting.
Drafting.
For drafting, right?
Drafting.
Yeah, so he's back to school for drafting. And I just finished my program, right? So right now I'm currently jobless, but I don't say that with like a sad face or anything. I'm jobless, which is fine. I think I earned a break just for a few weeks. And Paul and I are leading different lives, you know, very different.
Very different.
Very different. Like Paul works in this.
I was actually like going back. I was actually looking into going into publishing.
Really?
Yeah.
Langara?
At Langara.
What?
So, like, I was just looking into it, but I think did you need a portfolio to enroll?
No, you needed like.
Because I could have sworn like you had to have like a portfolio.
There were weird requirements from like regular programs in college.
Yeah.
Like you needed to write like a letter.
Oh, now I remember why I went to Langara, because I wanted to get into publishing.
Oh.
I didn't end up doing that, so
what?
Now I'm, like I got out of school. I worked for a year, and then now I'm here.
Worked out in the end.
Yeah.
But for the publishing program I went to, you needed like, it wasn't a portfolio but a resume. You needed a resume.
It's true.
Which is weird because like when I handed in my resume for the program, my experience was just like Best Buy sales associate. So I don't know how I got
That
in.
screams graphic designer.
Right? Right? But you also had to write like a letter of intent telling the program heads why you want to take the program and what you want to get out of it. So it's not the usual.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not the usual registration process. So it was different.
Right,
it was really different.
Right. It would be like applying to an actual job.
Yeah, it was close to that,
Yeah.
because during the program it was a lot like a job, wherein all the different projects we had within the program, we had to apply for the different roles like jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, like so in my program, in the publishing program, we had to create an actual magazine and an actual website that had real advertising from real clients, real content we had to research and write for. So it was all legit content that was distributed with the Globe and Mail in Vancouver. So it's actual legit content. And so since it was very serious stuff, we had to apply for it like it was a serious thing, like a real job.
Right.
So yeah, so for the magazine, just sharing really quickly, I was the art director. And so all the creative or artsy decisions, like all the colors and the fonts and the sizes and the spacing, all the white space, all the images, it was sort of under my responsibility. So yeah, graphic design.
Because like that's what I really liked about my first program was it was design and drafting, and I liked the design aspect more of the design and drafting. So like getting into that program, it would have, you know, made me more like proficient in like Adobe and
Photoshop, Illustrator, that sort of things.
But now I'm like learning those by myself.
Which you totally can though.
You
totally can.
But it's a big learning curve.
It is a huge learning curve. I remember the first semester I had, we learned all of these softwares, and it was a big learning curve. But what's really cool is you can learn those softwares anywhere, right? What I really appreciated and what I think what you really pay for in the publishing program at Lingera is the experience you get, the applications that you're given.
I see.
Is very unique, very unique. But yeah, I guess going back to service.
Oh yeah, going back to service. Oh, I want to ask you, how has service in the community like really impacted how you interact with people outside of the community? Considering like this podcast, it can reach
for sure.
Even though the majority of my friends are in the community, it can reach people that aren't in the community. So how do you interact with them?
That's a good question, and I've always considered myself as an introvert. Which
no way.
Yeah, no legit. I've always thought myself to be an introvert. Like I would take all these online tests. Like, back then you would go online, like those introvert extrovert tests, see what you are, and I've always considered myself to be an introvert, very closed up, very reserved, right? But if there's one thing I could easily do was sort of like get to know people because of my faith. And so until now, I still sort of consider myself an introvert. Like if you were to put me in a group of strangers, I still wouldn't be like the main person talking or sharing, right? But when it comes to the faith, I consider myself a very devout Catholic, a very devout Christian. And so when it comes to talking about those things and sharing those things, I find a lot of comfort, right? And so, jump back to when I first became a leader, when I first served. I was very shy, and so when I had my first group of boys, it was very challenging for me, like to just talk and get them to open up, because I couldn't get myself to open up to them either, right? And so 3 years down the road, 4 years down the road of serving now, 4 years down serving, it's kind of like it has changed how I communicate and interact with people, because when I started serving, the main responsibility was getting to know and making sure my group of boys, my household, were good, right? That was the main job. But being a leader and serving, you're also called to be able to do that outside, right? And at first it was really tough. But I think my service in the community really helped me sort of open up easier to other people, to interact with them easier, be able to relate to them. So pretty much having to force myself to relate to other people within the community made it easier for me to relate to people outside the community. And so when I'm in school, or when I used to work at Best Buy and all these things, or on the bus, now it's easier, I think, just to have a conversation if I feel like there's a conversation there. I don't feel as awkward compared to 2-3 years ago, for sure, like 100% for sure. I don't know, I can't imagine myself talking to girls now compared to before.
Like, that's because you have a girlfriend.
Well, I think the community is the reason why I'm able to talk to girls more comfortably, I think.
Right, yeah. Right? I find the same thing, because before I joined the community, I would have no idea how to talk to girls. And I don't know, for me I find that I'm a different person inside the community and a different person outside of the community. Because inside the community, we all share the same faith and all that kind of stuff. But outside the community, everyone's so different, everyone's very unique. So me, like, having to approach these other people that are outside the community, I'm very introverted, whereas if you see me in the community, I'd say like I'm a bit outgoing, and I'd be talking to a lot of people, unless like I'm kind of like out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, two very different lives I'm living.
Exactly.
Really.
It happens. For sure. But with girls, actually, I don't know why we're talking about this now, but it's really weird how now I'm able to talk to girls much easier. It's because serving the community, they will make you work with all kinds of people, including girls, including what we call sisters. And so it's really cool is that you're able to interact with girls, with ladies, in a really proper environment where there's no like weird intentions.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like it's just straight up. We're just working together. We have a goal, and
where
and we wanna be
you don't
friends.
assume anything of the girl, and the girl doesn't assume anything of
because
you.
you guys
Right?
are just serving together.
Yeah.
You guys are working together, right? At the same time, since you're a part of a youth group, your friendship with that person builds too, and that really helps you with everything else outside that, right?
Right. And you know, the last thing about service is, as well as you know, how you approach it with the outside world, is how you manage to like balance that kind of service
That's
with
true.
with everything else in your life. Because considering you were going to school the past 2 years, right? How did you balance that service with everything? Because for me, I talked about it in the last episode, but I had a lot of free time, considering I didn't have full-time work. So I had a lot of free time, so a lot of my time was committed to having friends over, or like going over to friends' places and just hanging out and chilling.
Yeah.
But when I started getting into a full-time job, it was much tougher to balance everything. So like I actually have to schedule myself now. It's crazy.
Time management is huge for sure. To be honest, I don't know how I did it, because when I was in school, I would pull 10, 12-hour days.
Yeah.
10, 12-hour days in school, doing all the projects, all the homework, all the lectures, and all of these things. Then go home, and I would plan things for the youth group, all the events, all the meetings, and all these things. And I don't know how I managed to fit everything and have a girlfriend at the same time. You have a girlfriend, and you serve, and you have a job, and now you're in school too.
Actually,
I don't know how you're doing it too, but I think it's just because of the other leaders before us who have set the example that it is possible, and that there's no way for us to complain that we can't do this, because they did it too.
right.
You know?
Yeah.
They did it. Like our good friend Alexis, he had 2 jobs. He served, and he went to school for a bit, and he led a pretty busy life, sort of.
Right.
And so one way or another, he still managed to serve really well. And so for me,
It's because he had no girls distracting him.
true. It's because he's gay. No, he's not gay. No, he's not gay.
No homo.
No, I wonder if Alexis ever listens to this. I think he does.
He probably does.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I want to get him on.
Yo, yeah, right. He will be a guest one day.
One day.
One guest.
Hopefully soon.
One day. But yeah, for me, to be honest, I don't know how I did it. I think it was just a lot of perseverance and just knowing that, 1, you don't have a choice. 2, you said yes to this thing, so you gotta follow through. You're a man. I try to be a man of my word. And so, yes, it was very stressful. I don't think I said that, but it was very stressful.
Mm-hmm.
It was very taxing, like emotionally, spiritually, physically. Like, I get burnt out. Like, there are times where I get burnt out, right? But I think it all comes down to the example of all the leaders before us, wherein it gets hard, but you don't give up. You don't give up. So for all those who are listening, I think if you are serving in any way, right?
Yeah, it's not exclusive to the community,
Yeah,
of course.
right? You serve your family, you serve your friends.
Yeah.
You serve people in your work, right? Service is everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it might seem like an obligation sometimes, but it's a responsibility and also a privilege. You know, it's a privilege.
Yeah.
So don't take it for granted.
No, don't take it for granted. Yeah, because it'll come to that time where service just stops.
Yeah.
And then you start to wonder about what could be and what could have been, right?
Too much time.
Yeah. Anyways, we're like almost approaching an hour, like 55 minutes.
Oh.
You gotta get somewhere.
I do. I'm serving right now. I have I have a household meeting in a bit. But you know, dude, you gotta make time for your friends too at the same time, man. You gotta make time for those relationships, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
was there anything you wanted to plug?
Sure. So,
because Carlo had a mixtape.
Really? Oh yeah, he has like an EP coming out, right?
City Lights EP, check it out.
Yeah, check it out. Real good guitar. Really good. He's a good singer. For me, so I am a graphic designer, a web designer, and a photographer. I shoot weddings, all sort of events. So, if you want to see my portfolio, if you're interested to see just how my work is, go to diego.manaligod.ca. I have my own website. I made it myself from scratch. It's really good. It works on mobile and on your desktop. It's really cool. There's a contact form on there if you want to email me or talk to me or anything. So yeah.
Does it work on a BlackBerry?
No, it doesn't. If you have a BlackBerry, you can't be my client. I have standards. I'm kidding. Who owns a BlackBerry anyway? Do people still own a BlackBerry?
Yeah, people with like work phones, dude.
Oh man. But yeah, I recently did a wedding like 2 weeks ago. I did a wedding 2 weeks ago. It was like a 14 or 16 hour day. I went to the hotel like 7:30, 8 a.m. I left the reception at like 10 p.m. Dude, it was such a long day.
That is.
But good money though. And I think the pictures we took were really nice, and I hope the bride and groom. Shout outs to Emin and Clea. They were the bride and groom we took pictures of. Yeah, we shot them.
Shot and killed.
Yeah. Get wrecked. Yeah, it was really cool. I think weddings are really fun. Family events in general are really fun to shoot because like the vibe and the sort of environment you're in is really happy and it's really cool. And so weddings are fun. Check out my Instagram, Journey with Diego, at Journey with Diego. Check it out and you'll see all my stuff. I hope you guys think I'm a good photographer because I am trying to be a good photographer. I think I'm a good photographer.
All right.
You need some confidence, you know.
All right.
Shout outs to my girlfriend. Shout outs to my girlfriend.
What's your name?
Her name's Allison.
Oh.
I just thought I'd say that because I miss her. Yeah. Do you ever shout out to your girlfriend, dude? You should.
I should. Anyways.
But he doesn't anyway. Yeah.
Anyways, that's the end of...
Are we good for time?
Yeah, we're good for time.
Is that good?
Yeah, do you want to take us out?
So how do I do that?
Just say, like, thanks for visiting.
So thank you, everyone, for coming to the park. I'll see you next Tuesday. Shut up. Yo, sick.